We both got hurt in PE, so we had no choice but to talk to each other. And the next thing you know, my entire life changed from that moment.
Oh, good morning, good evening, and good day to you. This is Eric Brown with BSM Facility Services. I've known him for probably like 4 years now, 5 years now, or something like that. We met through IFMA, Silicon Valley originally, and then it kind of like tapered off into Boma, Oakland East Bay, and a bunch of other stuff. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So what is BSM?
So BSM, it's Building Service Maintenance Inc. We are your single point of contact for all facility needs, such as janitorial, landscape, construction, facility repairs like general handyman, minor electrical. I mean, we pretty much do it all. Uh,
What locations?
Our home office is in Concord. We just recently opened up an LA division to support our construction team.
That's awesome.
And we service Los Angeles, New Mexico, Washington, Oregon, Arizona, and yeah, Southern California. That's mainly for our construction. Here in Concord is where we do like everything, I guess, as a single point of contact, where our landscape is included, our janitorial, while the LA office is more just construction.
Mm-hmm. And then what do you focus on mostly? Obviously, your business development, right, and account management.
Yeah, I wear many, many hats. I guess my title would be I'm an account manager, so business development. I also run the entire night operation, so all the night janitorial for all of our accounts. So learning to manage people was actually more difficult, I found, than managing a building, but we are getting there. So
I mean, people have personalities, buildings don't. I
yeah,
mean,
let me tell you, I
they
think
have
that's
that
half the
stubborn.
battle. It's like psychology. It's been really interesting kind of going through that transition. Um, but it's been beneficial at the same time. Learning how to deal with, all those different personalities, like you said, can be tough, but you know, it's kind of fun at the same time because you get to see so many different perspectives.
Hmm.
Um, Yet you got to kind of maintain your own. If that
Yeah,
makes sense. So,
yeah. Well, you
yeah.
also get to grow with them personally, and like your story is super cool because you originally just started as like a front runner, right? Like you were driving around the car and stuff.
I was a janitor. Yeah, I
Yeah.
started at BSM when I was 16. I'm 29 now, so it's been a long ride. I've never worked anywhere else. Kind of just went from cleaning toilets to driving the shuttle, which kind of got me in the door with the higher ups around here. And then next thing you know, I was doing sales, and here we are, 7 or 8 years later from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
I
time
mean,
flies.
and that's also like another reason why I wanted you a part of this project is because you fell into the position that you're in now. Now you've won a couple of awards throughout art associations, and like I think that's very um inspirational, I guess is the right way to say.
Trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now.
So we talked about associations. What associations are you in now?
So right now, I am, I guess, Cornet. I'm on the membership team for Cornet. It's a great group. Really enjoy their time and all the different people in that organization. Currently, I am sitting on the board, serving my second year at Boma, Oakland East Bay. Prior to that, I chaired community outreach for 3 years, and prior to that, I was on the what is now known as the emerging professionals, but back then it was the young professionals
Mhm.
for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I also assisted with the Create Gala for 3 years. I think this is the first year I didn't do anything, but we'll see where that goes. So
I mean, the year's early, so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Like I said, I talked to Samantha Stiers this last weekend or this last week, and I didn't realize how aligned Create Gala was, or because I always associated it with BOMA Oakland East Bay and BOMA San Francisco, and then maybe Crew. I think were like the top three, but I didn't realize like that you guys were going into schools and like trying to create that brand awareness of the CRE industry and property management and vendors and all that stuff. So that's cool that you're able to be a part of it, because now I'm trying to be a part of it because it's
You definitely should. It's another great group of folks. Oh yeah, I enjoyed, what I contributed, which, obviously I feel like a lot more could have been contributed. I was more of like the East Bay connection through it all, trying to solicit sponsorships to the East Bay folks who weren't maybe as aware at the time. They're definitely aware now. So they have made a lot of traction in the industry, and so I can only imagine where that's going to go over the next couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. How was your year?
My year?
Yeah, 2020.
My year was great, actually. I thought, it was definitely different. But having the multiple sectors like in our office was great because one sector we may have had like reductions in service while the other one was kind of increased. So it was kind of nice to be able to utilize all of our different services to keep afloat. But definitely interesting time. It's a time I don't think anyone will ever forget, obviously.
Was there
But
was there any big changes? Like, was that just the fact that you had to keep pivoting between different markets, or was it?
well, I think the biggest change for me was having to learn COVID like everyone else, like as a whole, because now I'm having to sit there and put protocols together, really study what's going on to be able to understand and to be able to implement those protocols. And then get everyone trained. That was a stretch because there's so many janitors who need to understand what the situation is, why we are here, what we're doing to help the situation. So it was a lot. It was a lot, and I think now it's just something that we do. It's just something that's part of us. Um, so it's not as difficult anymore, but it can still be pretty tedious.
Yeah,
And you just have to be really self-aware, like making sure you always have your PPE, let alone getting the PPE, because that was
yeah,
really
that
tough
was a
at one
struggle.
point to be able, I ordered like an unnecessary amount of gloves and disinfectant and everything because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it. And you definitely don't want to. You definitely at this time want to be always thinking ahead,
Yeah,
as instead of being in the moment. So I guess overall, 2020 was interesting, very
yes.
interesting.
um, did you have any of your favorite, like any cool events that you joined in on? I know you hosted one, which was like that cooking, like chopped one. How did that go?
Oh,
That
on
wasn't.
my end, it was a disaster. It was a
What?
disaster. So, what that was supposed to be, it was supposed to be me and Andrew, from Peacock Construction together, doing this chop basket. But it turns out the day we were supposed to do it, I tested positive for COVID-19.
Oh no!
And then it was like, okay, what are we gonna do? And I was like, Andrew, we're just gonna have to battle each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm like at home, like looking in my pantry, like, oh my gosh, what do I have to work with right now? This is crazy. Let alone I couldn't they at the end of it, they asked me to taste my meal because it was all virtual. And I was like, I
It
can't
tastes like
taste
nothing.
anything, so I don't really know, but I think it tastes good. Yeah, that was a fun one. That was a fun one. I think my favorite event thus far was the Boma holiday party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on Remo. It was my first
Mhm.
time using Remo and being able to navigate through the different rooms. I actually felt like I was on an event as opposed to
Yeah.
being on a Zoom where I'm just on mute and just waiting to say something silly at some point, get people to laugh or something.
Mhm.
Um, so I think, yeah, I definitely think that was the highlight event for me last year. So
Nice. Yeah, I did the Remo for a brief moment, but I don't know if you're familiar. Like, I'm actually in Texas right now.
Yeah.
And so it was like 10 over here. And so I'm sloshed. I'm like, I don't know how to get to like an empty table, and this isn't really working out right now, but
Yeah.
it was fun. I was able to see a lot of good faces for a brief point. So
Yeah.
that's
I think
going.
that was probably the nicest thing about it, being
Yeah.
that I didn't see anyone's face prior to
Yeah.
that for a long
Yeah.
time. So that, yeah, I think that's probably what made it what it was being able to connect with everybody like that. Um, and not such on a large scale where it was condensed and you had those opportunities to really see how people are doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
else am I thinking? I'm trying to think. 'Cause I kind of blew through a lot of the questions
No,
very
we
quickly.
ran through those. I guess we could talk about the upcoming events.
Ooh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
You
I
have?
I think with the thing I'm looking forward to most, the thing I am looking forward to the most is the Boma Golf Tournament, which is
Ooh.
happening, I believe, in March, and it's actually going to be an in-person event. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of regulations, like the capacity on a single hole at one time, um,
Are vendors
how
gonna
the
be able
golfers are set up,
to?
to where we can have gaps in between us.
Mhm.
Just the fact that we can actually get together and do that, I'm just beyond excited. So
Yeah.
handle that, but
Yeah.
the fact that that's an actual thing that's happening, is exciting for me. And
Yeah.
actually, I'll be doing the charity hole for Create at that
Oh,
event. Come
nice.
see us if you guys come.
Yeah. I probably will. I need to make sure it works with the schedule, but I come back and forth from Texas to California. I've only done it twice so far, but then the whole regulation started, and then
Yeah,
I don't want to get stuck, and I got a puppy, so I also don't want to leave it yet.
yeah. You don't want any of that going on. So, but
So
that's cool that you've been able to make it back and forth a couple times. And that you
yeah,
can still do that, still be a part of us. When I found out you were leaving, I was like, holy crap, she's leaving? How and why?
well, it's like a family thing, and then I was able to buy a house, which made it that
Ooh,
much easier. So
yeah, yeah. Definitely do that out there.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like mortgage is like 1,100,
Oh my
and
gosh.
so
That's
I was
like,
just like, it would be kind of stupid if I didn't just buy a house, and then like if I ever decide that I want to go back, then I could just go back and like make that a thing.
yeah. Because
Uh,
for 1,100, I'm renting a janitorial closet somewhere in the Bay Area. So,
yeah,
no.
no. But the San Francisco house is like 3,400, and
I don't understand how people would do it. I really don't. Unless you have like 8 roommates right now, especially right now.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
jeez. You just walk around. It's kind of like a ghost town everywhere you go, and it's just like this is real life. Like, who would have thought?
Have you seen those? Because I remember whenever I was still in California, and it was like brand new COVID, and there had a bunch of drones going through San Francisco, and it was so eerie and
Ooh,
creepy looking.
the Orange Day in San Francisco was the craziest day I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
never forget. I woke up and I'm driving to work, and I'm like,
Like an apocalypse.
what is going on? I'm like, why are my headlights on at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, no, that was insane. So for the people that aren't aware, we had normally, yes, we have California fires, not a big deal, but this time it was pretty egregious and very obnoxious. I was in an area that was on the watch to be evacuated.
Ooh,
Like I was still like in that county, but I was like barely outside of it.
yeah,
So yeah,
that was a terrible time. It's still a whole lot of terrible things, one thing after the next. I mean, it was,
it was honestly comical.
yeah.
Just,
Well, it's not over yet either. It's still kind of happening, so we'll see. Hopefully, nothing else out of this world happens, but we'll have to knock on wood on that.
yep. Um, ugh. Crazy, crazy, crazy year. So let's talk about your opinion of the word millennial.
You threw me off there. I was not expecting that one.
I used to think
Millennials versus the world. Let's go. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I guess it's just like we're seeing a transition of eras here, where the people that came before us, I feel like they are straight to the point, go-getters, you work hard, you play hard kind of thing. When the millennials are crafty and they try and work smart instead of hard, I guess you should say, but somehow make it work in their own way, very technologically sound. Um, it's interesting, yeah, because we're like right in the middle, so we're kind of getting the best of both worlds, I guess you should say.
yeah.
But to have a straightforward opinion on it, I have no idea how to answer that question, to be completely honest with you.
I would say probably like around the time that I met you, a lot of our folks would refer to me as a millennial, and I would get kind of irritated because probably 5 years ago, that was when they were saying that we're entitled and that we're lazy and that we were um, not go-getters. They had this like weird opinion of us, and so like I took offense to that for a long time. And then obviously there's that shift to now when they're like, oh, millennials are actually from 1985 or something to 1996, and we're definitely not Gen Z, which is
Yeah,
good.
Gen Zs. We'll just let them be them. We'll see how that comes around come time,
And
if it comes around.
so now I think a lot of people are going to like have been thinking of what you just described is we are crafty, we are intelligent, and also just like I feel like there is a big gap of millennials that are needed, and that's also another reason why I want to create this community of us,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna create a soundboard for us to be able to talk and like have those like discussions of wow, like I keep getting talked down to or whatever, and like I want it to be more relatable.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. Makes
I'm super
sense.
excited.
Well, yeah, I guess for what is it, Gen Z,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully some of those people get to see this and be like, hey, again, if we can do it, you can do it. Tell you
Yeah, for sure.
that.
I mean,
So
they're gonna be smart as all heck, but also they have weird lingo that I don't understand, and I didn't realize I was an old person
that's
until.
cat. That's cat.
So, what is your main customer client? Like, what does it look like? Who are they?
Like well, property managers are obviously our number one asset managers. Anyone that owns or manages a property that we can provide a service for is our target market 100%. Um, However, on the construction side, right now it's grocery. We
Oh,
do
really?
we do a lot of grocery construction. Yeah, that's what's really made us move from place to place to place recently, is to keep up with the demand. Um, so
That's
that's the
awesome.
other beauty of the multiple, uh, I guess, avenues of service here, is that each one has their own direction and you know power clients, I guess you should say, like who we look for the most. Um, so it's kind of nice.
How did you get hired with BSM? Because you were 16, but I didn't.
So I actually had a friend. So the owner's son at the time came to my high school for 1 year. Um, he came to my school for 1 year due to something with his family that allowed him to be at my school for that year. Um, we both got hurt in PE. So we had no choice but to talk to each other. And the next thing you know, my entire life changed from that moment. And I had no idea that that was going to happen. It baffles me when I think about it, when it's like you meet someone and at that moment it's just like, oh, I just met someone. But when it starts to unravel, like that person was supposed to come into your life, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it ended up changing mine completely. And I never thought I'd be here or doing anything like this. I thought I was going to be playing basketball, or if I wasn't playing basketball, I was going to be cooking or something. And then I started doing janitorial at night. I'd go to school and then I'd go to work. I was playing basketball, college basketball at the time. Um, I guess I was in high school too. Yeah. Graduated when I was 17. So, yeah, my junior year of high school, I started here. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that was interesting. That's how that happened. And then one thing led to the next. Here we are.
Yeah. And what awards did you win?
I won, let me think about it. Oh, I won Associate of the Year, which was the only award I've ever won outside of a sport. So it means the most to me. And I was completely caught off guard. Like, what the heck? I'll never forget that day. It was like, yeah, let's go pregame. We'll go to Drake's and drink because we're just going to go and clap for a bunch of people. So, I'm just having a good time. And the next thing you know, I have 2 drinks in my hand and my name's being called. And I'm like,
Oh,
don't let me speak. Don't let me speak. Just walk up there, take a picture. It's to me, all I remember was walking up stage saying, "Don't let me talk," and that's about it.
I love it.
It was just a very surreal moment for me, being in front of all those people. I was like, "Oh my gosh, jeez!" I actually have it somewhere.
I was going to ask you if you had it.
Yeah, I have it right here. 2016. I guess you can't see it. You need like a background. Let's see, maybe that'll work.
Yeah.
2000.
Outstanding Associate of the Year.
Associate of the Year. I guess that's what you get for just being a yes guy.
Like, that's something that is super important to reiterate in this association, is that you always hear that you get what you give, right?
Yep.
And that's pretty much it, especially for vendors. Like, a lot of people, I feel like some people will have that like certain expectation of you to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes they have the expectation of like you to not have a personality. It just, you're there, you're just like a head, right?
Yeah.
And then that's whenever you start to really build your relationship with that person, and you start to like grow with them as well, and you guys get to go through a lot of cool things. I mean, they use us for a lot of ideas.
Yes, they do. They do. It's just speaking up and giving your ideas is the biggest part. You just gotta be yourself.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget going to my first BOMA event, and I was like, I didn't even own a suit. And I walked in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? I was so nervous because I was like, I didn't feel like I belonged there. And then, as I kind of went along, it just kind of blossomed naturally. You realize that you can just be yourself, and that's what everyone else is doing. And everything comes from that. So,
key takeaway: join associations and then join the committees. And say
join
yes.
the committees. Yeah, yes, you have to be involved. You have to be involved. You're not just going to show up and get 100 jobs from people by just coming to an event every once in a while and having a drink. It's like, the organization really gives back to its members, those who are committed. And I think that's just the way you got to do it. And from that, you end up making so many friends and so many relationships that would have never happened if you didn't make yourself feel uncomfortable and actually step out and put yourself out there. And then you learn a lot about yourself too. Like, I know that I'm someone who always puts myself down. Like especially this year when things aren't as normal, and I'm like, man, maybe I'm just not good enough, or I just don't have it anymore. And then I got to take a step back and realize, like, man, you're way better than this, way better than this. Don't let this off month get to you. I mean, no one's even in the office, so you you know what I mean.
Who are you
So
comparing yourself to at this point?
yeah, there was a period where I was like very frustrated, like, man, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Uh, Not so much anymore. I think a lot of things are coming back, a lot of traction's being built.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice to see some light at the end of the tunnel. Just hard to see where the tunnel ends.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about it is that we're all in it together. That is such
Yeah,
like the most cliche thing to say, but it is also one of the truest things. Like
yeah,
it's cliche for a reason. And I felt like this year like kind of gave people more like of that personal touch. You're like, okay, you are a person. You do have like a life with like random kids that are running in the background, or just your cats and
yeah.
dogs barking and meowing and stuff. Oh, I didn't even know that my cat was. Do you have any other like cool, funny stories other than obviously your Chopped incident?
I think that's the funniest one. Everything else has just been, it's not funny at all. Just, yeah, I think that would be the funniest one. I was trying to think of like what's funny has happened this year, and to be honest with you, before I got on the call, I was trying to think about it. I was like, I got nothing. And then as we talked, I was like, oh, the chop thing. That's right. That's right. So that was
Those,
great, considering that my internet at home sucks. So no one could even see what I was doing for the most part. I was
oh
trying to hold
no.
a laptop and cook at the same time. It was a disaster. Yeah, I mean, I guess when you're doing like when you're cooking on film, I realized it's much different. I felt like I was trying to put something on for someone else as opposed to cooking for me.
Yeah,
And when I cook for me, it's like my heart and soul is cooking,
yeah.
as opposed to having to think like this has to be perfect, like you're all flustered and whatnot. But it was a cool experience, and I had a lot of fun. And congrats to Andrew for demolishing me, I guess you should say.
What did
uh
you make and what did he make?
he made some kind of red curry based dish. It looked delicious. Our boxes were gummy bears, ramen noodles, duck breasts, and I can't even remember what else. But those three alone, I was like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this?
Did you watch any of the food like the actual Chopped videos to like before to kind of get your creative mind you like flowing?
No, I actually didn't. I figured, I was like, whatever it is, I just got to be in that moment and figure it out in
Yeah.
30 minutes. And that probably wasn't the best approach. Can't even lie. But it was still fun overall. I had a great time. Definitely want to do it again. Hopefully, me and Andrew can get together and do it right this time, and
Mhm.
then maybe challenge people from Boma, San Francisco, or Boma,
That'd be
San
awesome.
Francisco to a little cook off.
That'd be awesome.
But what I will do is kind of circle back to what I was talking about before, for like my words of advice. And my words of advice would be to believe in yourself, because, like I mentioned before, I'm the kind of person that gets really hard on myself, and then I'm down, and then it kind of seems like everything else behind that follows. Like, my home life, everything just kind of seems down. So, believing in yourself and remaining positive, I think, is some of the biggest things right now, especially from a mental aspect. Um, and that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I would like to leave people with.